Hello friends, welcome to the session on artificial intelligence. In this session, we'll be discussing about the classification problem. In this session, we will see what we mean by classification problem, and we will see what are the different types of classifications available. Also, we will see what kind of different algorithms that can be used in order to classify a given image. Friends, as you know that you are viewing this session on my YouTube channel, and you can subscribe to the channel so that you can watch many other educational videos on the various topics of electronics and computer science. So let us start the session and let us understand what we mean by classification. Classification is a supervised learning technique where we will know initially what can be the output when certain input is being given, and this technique is being called as a supervised learning technique. And in this technique, the algorithm will assign the input data to a predefined category or class. So for example, we have been given certain images or certain variables which we call them as the independent input variables. Then the model will classify them, and this model will classify them based on their shape, size, color. So these images are being classified as the vegetables, and other images are being classified as the groceries. So the model is being trained on such images, and whenever some unknown image is being given, then the model will automatically classify it into a vegetable or a grocery. You will find that there are different types of classification. So for example, the first classification that we have is a binary classification. In the binary classification, we can categorize the input data into two different classes. The first is being called as a 0, the second is being called as a 1, or sometimes we call it as a yes or no, or sometimes we call it as a true or false. Say for example, if you have been given certain emails and you have been asked to classify them whether spam or not spam, then such classification is a binary classification. Say for example, if you have been given certain medical image, and from that image you want to check whether the disease is present within a patient or the disease is not present in a patient based on the image, then that is being called as a binary classification. There are several algorithms available with the help of which we can achieve the binary classification. So some of them are the logistic regression. Already we have discussed the regression topic. There you will find that the logistic regression is used for binary classification. Apart from that, we can use support vector machine SVM. We can make the use of decision tree, or we can make the use of random forest. So maybe in our some other sessions we will discuss each and every algorithm in detail. There is another type of classification, and this classification is being called as a multi-class classification, where there are not only two categories but more than two categories. Say for example, we can have the class 1, we can have the class 2, we can have the class 3, we can have the class 4. So based on the shape, you will find that, and the color, the input parameters or variables are being classified into different categories. So each sample, input sample, will belong to only one class. Say for example, if you have been given some handwritten digits and the digits are in the range of 0 to 9, then you can make the use of multi-class classification. Or whenever you have been given some animal images such as dog, cat, bird, then you can classify them into different categories, and this classification is multi-class classification. Sometimes we have been given some customer data and we can make the use of sentiment analysis such as positive, negative or neutral, then that classification is being called as a multi-class classification. Several algorithms are available for this purpose, such as softmax regression, k nearest neighbor KNN, or we can make the use of random forest, or even neural networks can be used for multi-class classification. Another classification technique that is also used in many applications is the multi-label classification. In the multi-label classification, what we do is that each data point will belong to the multiple classes simultaneously. So you will find that here the each instance need not to belong to only one class, but it can belong to the multiple classes. Say for example, if we have been given some image, then this image can be classified into different categories, and the belongingness to the different categories will be different. Say for example, this image will belong to the category of dog as 0.8 or 80%, to cat 0.2%, 0.2 or 20%, to bus 0.04%, and to plant 0.7%. So in this way, you will find that the same image is been belonging to the different categories or different classes based on the content of the image. Or whenever we have been given some picture, then we can label the picture as dog, or sometimes we can label it as a beach, or sometimes we can label it as a sunset at the same time based on the content of the image. So movie genre classification, a movie can be classified by using the multi-label classification, where a movie can be comedy as well as the movie can be an action movie. It is possible. In medical diagnosis, sometimes patient may be classified into multiple conditions at once. The algorithms that are used in the multi-label classification are multi-label KNN, nearest neighbor, then support vector machines with one VS rest. Recurrent neural network RNN can also be used for the multi-label classification. So in several applications, we need to make use of these algorithms in order to classify the given image. So say for example, if you have been given some image, then as far as binary classification is concerned, dog, we can say it is 0.9 or 90%, dog it is only 0.1 or 10%. When we use multi-class classification, then in that case you will find that the dog will have 0.5 classification, 0.09, 0.01 and 0.4 as a plant. When we use multi-label classification, then the same image can be classified into different categories such as dog 0.8, cat 0.2, bus 0.04 and plant 0.7. So thank you friends for viewing the session. Hopefully you have understood what we mean by the classification problem in AI. Thank you all.